Welcome to right outside the gates of Bryce Canyon in the beautiful state of Utah. In today's episode, I'm going to show you what a Plan B is all about. So let's say that you spend hours driving to Bryce Canyon National Park, intending on camping in one of its two campgrounds, only to find out, they're full. What are you going to do? Well, in this episode, I'm going to show you what I did. So if you want to learn about my Plan B, stick around and let's see how it works out. Okay, so here's what happened. I just left the north rim of the Grand Canyon, where I spent a couple fantastic nights in a beautiful campground, hightailed it up to Bryce, Utah, to get into one of the campgrounds at Bryce Canyon, which currently are not accepting reservations. They're first come, first serve, so I knew I was taking a risk. Got to the main gate, asked the ranger, are there any vacancies? No, there are not. They just filled up 10 minutes before I got there. So I did a U-turn and hightailed it right out down the road to a place called Ruby's RV Park and Campground, or Ruby's Inn RV Park and Campground, and luckily they had vacant campsites. So I went ahead, paid my fee, and then they said go ahead and drive around. It seems like they've got about 35 campsites here. They said pick any vacant one, stick a slip on it, and it's yours. And that's what I did. So as always, I'm going to just start off with a quick campground tour. Definitely not an national park quality campground for sure, but it's not bad. So that's the good news. Basically, you do get yourself a picnic table and you do get a fire ring. Notice there is no grill attachment on it. It's just a rock fire ring. So I'm gonna have to make use of those pokers I brought with me to cook my hot dogs tonight. And then of course I set up my tent over here. You can see they do pack in the campsites pretty closely here, which isn't abnormal for this type of a place. And off in the distance you can see the RV portion. It's pretty full. The campsites really kind of wind out this way, and there's a bunch of group sites over there that were off limits to me being a single camper. And then the road wanders up that way and around, so pretty small campground. Okay, now the cost. I ended up spending $76.20 after tax and their $3.50 recreation fee that they tacked onto the bill for 2 nights. And yes, I did opt to just go ahead and get 2 nights rather than mess around with having to pack up my campsite and then cross my fingers and hope to get into Bryce Canyon's campgrounds on a Friday. So today's Thursday, tomorrow's a Friday. I'm just not gonna risk that. So setting up shop here, and there was one really big selling point that made me decide doing that I'm going to talk about just in a little bit, so hang tight. But why don't we go take a quick stroll around here and we'll take a look at some of the other sites really quick. So I'm just going to focus on vacant sites really, because I don't want to invade other people's privacy, but this is that site right next to me, so you got pretty much room to park your car, not too much selection for where to put up your tent. I'm going to guess where this area is devoid of some vegetation is probably where most people set up their tent. I kind of put mine back a little far, but it kind of borders these shrubs. But the one good thing is I am up against the woods over here, and there is a barbed wire fence, so I really can't roam back there. But I do get some privacy, I suppose, from the rear there. So at least there's that. Here's site 6. It is, I guess it's not as sloped as I thought, but it is pretty sloped. But this wouldn't have been bad. Definitely more secluded than the rest. But keep that in mind if this looks good to you. Site number 6. And another view of the grounds. This is the RV area. To me it looks like it's primarily like an RV park, and the campground is stuffed away in the back corner where we are. So definitely, if you're into RVing, which I don't know much about, maybe this is good. I really couldn't speak to that though. And as for shade, it's a mixed bag here. I noticed that some sites had no shade at all. They were just literally in the middle of like a little field, and a lot of them have some trees. This area seems like it has more shade, like sites 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Mine, not bad on the shade factor. That's why I chose it. It was fairly level and had shade. That was really my criteria for this one. And here are a couple other sites. These could be pretty noisy because they kind of border these gravel roads. They probably get a lot of traffic, but they seem okay. And here's what I was talking about earlier. You do have some sites like Site 29 that are just kind of in the middle of a little bit of a field. I mean, there are a couple trees over there, but you're not going to get any shade there. And the weather's not horrible here. I mean, it's actually pretty nice. It's in the 70s right now. Probably going to be in the 40s at night, but maybe in the summer that would be pretty hot. Now, I did notice stationed throughout the park seem to be plenty of ample water sources here, so I assume they work. Yep. Now this is interesting. They do have like teepees I think you can rent. Doesn't look like there's anybody over here, so either they're not available and I can't really peek inside of them, but you might want to inquire about them. The only thing that's not so bueno is it's right off the main state route that leads into Bryce Canyon, which is off that way, just maybe like a mile or so down the road. Now, I do want to say, when I got here, the staff where you go to register and check in were super nice, super professional. There were other patrons that kind of were out of their luck that had RVs who were let down when they found out that there were no RV reservations, and the staff really handled that with a lot of tact, and I give them kudos for that. So really good customer service so far here at this at Ruby's Inn. Now, I always like to look at the positive in things because I knew there was a risk here with this plan, but there are positives to everything, so I'm going to show you one of those right now. So here is the awesome news, is that they have a Bryce Canyon shuttle stop right outside of Ruby's Inn, right here. It does run between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So I just checked, in order to use the shuttle, I have a National Parks Pass, so I just show the shuttle driver my Parks Pass. I don't have to pay for a fee, but at this little kiosk here is where you would pay your fee, your park entrance fee, if you needed to, which is $35. Seems like it's the same as Grand Canyon and Zion, but definitely I would recommend get a National Parks Pass if you plan on visiting a couple of these parks, because if you visit 2 of them, you almost pay for it already. So here's a nice little map that they made here at Ruby's that talks about Bryce Canyon City, which is the area that I'm at. We are here at Ruby's Inn, and then as I said, the park goes that way, and there's your shuttle stop. But you can see they do have quite a big selection of lodges and other facilities in the area if camping or RVing is not your thing. They really have a lot of amenities, it seems, around this area. And there's a lake, Lake Minnie. I wonder where Lake Mickey is. And when you first pull in, that campground office right there is where I went in to make my reservation. It looks like they do sell ice for $2.25 plus tax per bag, which is pretty good. And it looks like they do have firewood also. And they do have a bathhouse here, and I think there are showers further back that we'll go seek out near where the campground is, and I'll talk about that in more detail later. And you do have a laundry facility. So as you can see, they do have plenty of amenities here. Oh yeah, and they also mentioned that they do have entertainment in the evening, some kind of a dinner show. I'll see if I could find more information about it. I don't plan on going, but she said the most expensive thing on the menu is their steak dinner, which is $40. Now, speaking of more positives, something else that's super cool here is that I have really good internet. I'm with Verizon. I almost have a full LTE signal here in the park. So, you know, I've been camping a lot in national parks, and that's usually not something that you get. You just kind of deal with it. So it'll be kind of nice, I suppose, to have internet. Oh yeah, and on that note of internet, I forgot to mention, they did say that they have free Wi-Fi here, and they gave me the connection that I need to make. However, I don't know if it's secure. She just said you just connect to it, so I'm not sure about that. I'm not a big fan of public Wi-Fi, maybe because of the industry I work in. But anyway, so yeah, it's not all that bad. There are some things that help make it a lot better, like the shuttle and internet. And like I said, the campgrounds, I don't want to give you guys a false report because they are pretty nice, you know, for these kind of places. You never know what you're gonna get. and it's really close to the main entrance of Bryce. If you are planning on driving in, you probably could even bike there. I imagine if you really want to walk, you could too. So those are some good things about this place. And here are the restroom and shower facilities. It looks like you could drive your car and park up here if you were to use them. I'm gonna go take a peek. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to film in there because I think I saw some people go in there and I'm not about that. But let's go check out what they got here. Okay, so I was able to get in one of the showers because they're individual showers. Each one is behind a door. You enter a code that you're given at the campsite, and here's the shower. Note there are no coins required. You get that as part of the cost that you pay. And you can see you've got a place to hang some of your clothing as well as a seat. But it is a little gross there on the floor, a little muddy from people tracking in dirt. But overall, not bad. Looks like they have a sink here and a water fountain, so you could wash your dishes. So a quick note on the restrooms. I didn't want to go in and film. Maybe I'll try later. There were patrons in there. But I did go into the men's room, and I could actually say that is a nice bathroom, nicer than what you'd find at a national park, at least the ones I've been to so far. Really nicely tiled, clean sinks. Yeah, I was actually quite surprised. All right, so I have spent a night at Ruby's Campground. It's raining now. It's rained a couple of times since I've been here, but I do think I have enough information to offer you guys my opinion and final thoughts about my experience here at Ruby's Campground. It's not bad at all. I mean, as a fallback, if you can't get into the national park, which is very likely, this place is crazy, and the fact that they don't take reservations right now makes it really difficult. Ruby's is a fine fallback. The best parts about it are that the shuttle is the first stop going into Bryce Canyon and the first stop on the way back. There are several other stops that the shuttle makes outside of the park, but that's a huge plus. Makes it really convenient to get around, and you don't want to drive your car in Bryce, trust me. It's crazy in there. The facilities were clean, the bathrooms were very clean. The showers were pretty clean, as best as you can expect for a campground anyway, people washing off the muck from the day. The only gripes I really have are the campgrounds are really close together, or the campsites rather. You could see my neighbors were right there, and it's a very small campsite. Seems like they primarily cater to RV folks, which is cool. But anyway, that's really the gist of it. It's clean, it's fine. Not as good as staying in the national park, but it gets the job done in a pinch. So if you end up in that situation, Ruby's will do a good job for you. If you're new here, please subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, hit that notification bell if you want to stay informed anytime we release new videos, which we're doing all of the time. And you can also find us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under the name Cactus Atlas. Well, I do hope that you found this video helpful, and if you get in the same pinch, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be interested to know if you had the same experience. Other than that, I will see you on a new adventure right around the corner. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Delicious. Although I'm getting sick of hot dogs. That's all I ever eat anymore.